Hi guys, hello and welcome back to another retro feature right here on the channel. Okay, so this time I'm going to introduce you to another one of my retro machines of the HDMI mini range, and this one is the Super Nintendo. Okay, so those in the know who are old enough to remember will think back hopefully fondly on the Super Nintendo. At the time, we're talking about the mid-90s now, the 16-bit era. So you had either a SNES or you had a Mega Drive, or you had mates who had one or the other. And basically, back in the day, you get to play, some of the top titles, and there'd be a little bit of banter between the two of you, your mates and stuff. What was the better? The Mega Drive had this, the SNES had that. SNES had the Mode 7, etc. That kind of, little banter amongst gamers and stuff like that. The way we get now with like PlayStation versus Xbox and all that palaver, So, cut to the chase. This little fella cost me about £120 a couple of years ago upon release on Amazon. Just out of interest, I priced it up before shooting this video and it's sitting at £249.99. Don't pay that. Okay, this little thing is well worth it. It comes packed with 20 games. All of them are really good games. There's enough stuff on there for everybody to enjoy. It comes with 2 controllers, HDMI lead and a power lead. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the controller first, and then we'll go on and I'll show you the actual machine itself. So here we have the Super Nintendo controller. So as of the day, we have the 8-way D-pad. We have the start, we have a select button, and we have 4 buttons: blue, red, yellow, green, X, A, B and Y. Okay, and 2 shoulder buttons there. Okay, and at the time, this was like your pretty kind of classic, design for a controller. I love these things. I love the old 8-bit and 16-bit controllers. I'm not a fan, to be honest with you, of modern games. I'm really not, Anyway, so it fits nicely in your hand, and I've got, decent sized hands. It fits nicely in your hand. It feels realistic, and the buttons have got a nice little bit of a click. So no complaints there. And we get 2 of those in the box. The reasons become apparent. One of the best fighting games of all time is on this list. Okay, we have HDMI lead, bink and bink, nothing to tell you there, folks. And like I said before, the power lead, back in Nintendo, into your mobile phone charger plug. Job's a good one. Okay, and finally, before I let you know formally of what the games are, I shall show you the little machine itself. Okay, so if you had the original SNES side by side, certainly the United Kingdom, the European, the PAL version, this thing is an exact replica of it. Okay, so we have the power on and off button here. We have the little eject cartridge button there. This doesn't open, but on the original one, obviously you put your carts in. And we have a reset button, very handy obviously to go back into the main menu and change your game. Okay, so on the back we have aforementioned plugs, HDMI and power. It just says HDMI there in case you hadn't gathered. And just giving this thing a nice little spin round, we can see it's really well designed, nice and curvy. We've got the 2 port pads there for you to insert your pads. And again there, the thing with this is this actually pulls down to reveal your controller ports, which are these things here. Okay, so even though it's actually designed to look like the original SNES port, it's actually USB. Okay, so that's the little machine itself. It probably measures 6 inches by about 5 inches across and about 1.5 inches deep. So in comparison, there's my hand, there's the machine. That's what we're talking about here, guys. So like I mentioned earlier, this comes loaded with 20 games. So I'll read them off for you. And as you see, there's something there for everybody. There are Contra 3. That is a side-on horizontal shooter. Donkey Kong Country needs no introduction to probably anybody on the planet. Just a totally perfect side-scrolling platform game featuring Donkey, Diddy, and the rest of his little crew. Earthbound is a sci-fi role-playing game, like the JPRG ones. F-Zero, that's a sci-fi racer. It's set up like a little Grand Prix. You pick a car and you just whiz around the track. This actually took advantage of what was called Mode 7 at the time, which was a custom graphics chip that could spin things around really quickly. It was the one advantage, basically, that the SNES owners had over their Mega Drive counterparts. It was a really nice chip and there were some really good games with it. But, you know, I think the Mega Drive also made up with some of its games. So, you know, that's an argument for another day. Kirby Superstar, which Kirby is one of Nintendo's, he's like a little pink, fluffy little icon. And the idea of Kirby is he goes along and he basically sucks all the enemies in, spits them back out and stuff. It's like another little platformer. Very, very cute. Tricky. A nice little game. Like I say, he was a mascot. Pretty much everyone thinks like Nintendo and they think of Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Donkey before they think of Kirby. But yeah, you know, it's a nice little game. Staying with Kirby, there's Kirby's Dream Course, and this is like a little golf game where instead of just putting the ball in a hole and going around obstacles, you've got to kind of hit enemies on the way through and then drop him into the hole. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I don't need to mention Zelda to anybody really, do I? But if you're a Nintendo fan, this is like the SNES's own version of the 8-bit classic. It's well worth a play, and I've never completed it yet. Mega Man makes an appearance with Mega Man X, or Mega Man 10, whichever way around you want to see. One of my all-time favourite role-playing games, The Secret of Mana, is absolutely fantastic. It's where a lot of the RPGs at the time would go along, like stuff like Final Fantasy, they'd be sort of turn-based where you go along and you do what your bits and then strike, then the enemy does theirs. This is actually a little bit like Zelda, where, you know, you're just basically hitting things, you're attacking in real time. It's like a really good game, lovely story, beautiful graphics. I first seen this one imported on a Japanese machine that a friend of mine had, and I was just blown away. Even the text was in Japanese, and we just sat there playing it without a clue, but just loving it. Star Fox, probably one of the first proper 3D shoot-em-ups. Really, really top release at the time. I think that took massive advantage of like the Mode 7 as well, and some of the other graphic chips on board. And the real, well, not so much a star of the show, because I don't really rate this game highly. Watch me get Friday now by the Ninty fans, but it was never ever released. It was like a prototype, and it was Star Fox 2. They've obviously completed it and they put it on there, and you know, it's worth a blast if you're a Star Fox fan. But if you're buying it to say, oh well, you know, wow, I've got this unreleased game on there, I wouldn't really bother. To me personally, it doesn't do anything that the original Star Fox done, but hey ho. The reason for the two controllers is the awesome Street Fighter 2. One of my all-time favourites. I'm not a fighting fan, but I do love Street Fighter. I've got like a few reviewers who've been here for a while may well have seen my Capcom arcade machine review a while back, and that has basically got Street Fighter 2 on it as well, and I'll just sit there on Street Fighter all day. I'm no good. I get my arse handed back to me by anybody who plays me, so, you know, but I just love it. Yeah, I'm waxing lyrical about Street Fighter 2. Super Castlevania. Again, it's the 16-bit brother of the 8-bit classic. Castlevania, it's a series about the Belmont family, and they're basically vampire hunters, and it's like a side on horizontal platform scroller where you go through castles and stuff, and like, you know, you're sort of fighting skeletons and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the stars of the show for me personally. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Ooh, oh my word, probably one of the hardest games ever made. I think it's Arthur, his name. He's like a little knight, and again, you run along and you're jumping over tombstones and hacking away at zombies and all kinds of stuff. I've never completed this game. I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever actually got off the first level. It's one of them. The soundtrack is amazing and I love the game, but it's so hard. Any of you guys out there who've completed it, you're either a fantastic games player or you're a liar, you know, and let's pretend we're all fantastic games players. Leave me comments below. Okay, Super Mario Kart. You can have all your Switch and you can have all your different GameCube and everything. Come back to this. This is the single-handedly best Mario Kart game that there is. It's the original, and it's unbelievable. You know, you'll always catch me on the track as Yoshi, a bit like me, little chubby and not going anywhere quick, but I love that guy. Okay, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario role-playing game. I've never played it. It's like your JRPG, except it's all Mario and all that kind of stuff, you know, instead of like your usual kind of mad story. By all accounts, it was like one of the best games on the SNES, but I'm not going to sit in front of you and say I played it and it's this, it's that, it's the other. It looks good and I will play it one day, okay? Which brings me around to a feature of all these little machines. They all have like little save slots. So you can save sort of like your game sort of 4 times. So your stuff like your role-playing games, which you might be playing for weeks or months, you know, you can save them. So never worry about that, okay? Super Mario World, probably hands down, a bit like Super Mario Kart, in my humble opinion. Probably the best Mario game ever made. I know you've got all the Galaxy, and I know you've got all the big every Nintendo machine ever has got a Mario game with it, and rightfully so, because, you know, I mean, Mario is amazing. Along with Sonic, it's like one of the biggest franchises in video game history. But for me, Super Mario World was just, it was phenomenal. It really was. Check it out, guys, honestly. There's a Metroid game on here, Super Metroid. Again, another sci-fi one, side-on, horizontal platformer. You're seeing a pattern here, aren't you? Okay, a lot of them, a lot of the 16-bit games at the time, like, obviously were horizontal platformers. Super Punch-Out. It's like the big brother of, I think it was Mike Tyson's, it wasn't Mike Tyson's boxing, I think it was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out or Super Punch-Out on the NES. It's little brother. This is basically your 16-bit iteration, updated graphics. You know, it's not bad. It's one of them where go to the pub, have a couple of pints, come home, flick it on with your mates, and just have a little, you know, a little mess around for 10 minutes. It's not going to hold your attention. You're not going to sit there for 2 hours on it, you know what I mean? But it's a worthy little game. And the aforementioned Yoshi, in Yoshi's Island, again, very cute, very Mario-like, A to B, jump over things, collect stuff, what's not to like. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope I've just showcased, pardon all puns, because that's what you're coming, this little machine. It comes highly recommended. For the naughty ones amongst you, they can be hacked to put more ROMs on them. Not that I endorse that or anything. I'm just putting it over as a point that a lot of people buy these things to actually hack them to put all their favourite games on. I mean, in fairness, you know, there's 20 games on here. And if you're new to Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you know, there's enough there for you to be happy with, to actually have a feel of what the machine actually was and the era. But you're always going to get the kind of retro gamers who are like, I don't know, it hasn't got this, it hasn't got that, it hasn't got that game I played when I was a kid, or, you know, like, whatever. We can't put everything, well, Nintendo didn't put everything on this machine. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. Leave me your comments below. Did you have a SNES? Were you a Mega Drive head? Here's an interesting one, and I'll go on camera and admit it. If you were a Mega Drive owner, were you never jealous of your mate's SNES? I was. I had like FIFA, and I had Sonic, and I had like Mickey Mouse and the Castle Illusion. I had all these games. I know you Nintendo fans are screaming saying, shut up, I don't want to hear about Mega Drive. But I'd go round to like my mate's house and I'd see Super Mario World, man, and I was just like, you know, or the first time I saw like Pilot Wings or F-Zero or something like that took advantage of that like Mode 7 chip. So, you know, 16-bit era, you had the Mega Drive and you had this. And in my opinion, as a massive retro gamer, I love them both. So leave me the comments below, guys. Like I say, favourite games on this. Did you have a favourite game that wasn't on this that you'd like to have seen on it? Let me know your Nintendo memories, because I say I really am a massive retro gaming fan, guys. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here, and I'll see you next month for another one.